The Balcony Brotherhood presents news that doesn't affect your life, but is worth listening to anyway.
Welcome to the Balcony Brotherhood's weekly news show. We are the only show that promises to cover the year in news without checking the calendar to see if it's still 2020. I'm Mr. News Anchor, and I'm legally required to pretend everything's going just fine.
And I'm Ms. News Anchor. Tonight's top story: the world is officially not on fire, except for that one part of the world where it is literally on fire. Stay tuned for more on that, or just check your weather app.
It's been a year of unpredictability, hasn't it? In fact, we're starting to wonder if we're all in some kind of futuristic reality show. Speaking of reality shows, let's kick off with the celebrity news. Because let's face it, that's the only thing that feels real these days.
First up, the Great Hollywood Recession. Turns out, making a sequel to The Godfather doesn't automatically mean people will show up. After 75 failed reboots, Hollywood has turned to nostalgia. Yes, this year's box office hit was a remake of the reboot of an old sitcom.
And don't forget the remake of the remake of Scooby-Doo. This time, Scooby is an actual dog, and Shaggy's a TikTok influencer. No one asked for it, but Hollywood sure made it happen.
Which is why, when asked about the lack of originality in Hollywood, actor Leonardo DiCaprio responded with, "I'll do it for the paycheck." And we love him for that.
Now, turning to the political world. In a surprising twist of fate, the year's most talked about election was not in the United States. Nope, it was the mayoral race in a tiny town in Vermont. Yes, that's right. The real contest of the year took place between Lenny the Lab and Stacy from the bakery.
Stacy won. She promised free cookies, and who could say no to that?
A win for the people. But speaking of elections, let's talk about the United States for a second. The 2024 presidential race was just as wild as expected. This year, instead of debates, they just aired a reality show called Who Wants to Be President? And it was down to two contestants: billionaire CEO who may or may not own a colony on Mars, and someone we're still trying to figure out.
I'm still trying to figure out which one of them is the real robot.
And in environmental news, scientists confirmed that the planet has officially passed the "if you don't recycle, you get a parking ticket" phase. Cities across the globe now issue fines if you don't recycle, unless you're in Paris, where apparently it's fashionable to throw a coffee cup on the street.
Paris. That's the only city where it's considered eco-friendly to throw your coffee cup out in a manner that's artful.
Which brings us to the climate change report. 2024 saw the launch of a new climate initiative called Operation 500 Billion Trees. But the real problem? Someone forgot to ask the trees if they were on board.
Truth be told, the trees didn't RSVP. And neither did the bees, who are apparently too busy posting on Bee Talk to worry about their diminishing numbers.
On a lighter note, the technology sector is booming. People are now obsessed with their AI-powered fridges, which can now order groceries and suggest meals based on your mood. "You look stressed, so here's some ice cream," the fridge says.
I had one tell me to take a nap. But more important, this year AI was everywhere. Even our national birds are now AI-powered drones. At least, that's what my neighbor's pigeons are telling me.
If you don't get the reference, look it up on Google.
To be fair, at least the pigeons are now following a strict algorithm. That makes them far more reliable than the weather forecast.
And let's not forget the breakout tech sensation of 2024, smart socks. They not only tell you when to change them, but they also text you encouraging messages like, "You're doing great," and "maybe walk a little faster."
I've always wanted my socks to have more opinions.
In sports news, more records were broken than ever before. The New York Yankees are now officially the first baseball team to play underwater. That's right, the first submarine baseball game was held this year, and it was confusing. But ultimately, no one can ever accuse the Yankees of not diving for the win.
Speaking of diving, we're diving into 2025. And who knows what it'll bring? Maybe flying cars? Or maybe just another surprise remake of Friends.
All we can say is, hold on to your hats. And by hats, we mean AI-powered hats that will remind you of your meetings while making bad puns.
That's all for this week's news. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and remember, everything's fine until it isn't.
Good luck avoiding those parking tickets from the trees.
And that wraps up today's news broadcast from the Balcony Brotherhood. We provide you the headlines with a side of sarcasm. Keep yourself grounded and your perspectives a little off-kilter. Subscribe to the Balcony Brotherhood or UPod to stay on top of where we make fun of the world so you don't have to. Until then, stay proud, and always question the weather forecast. Or don't. It's up to you.